Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. Get your questions fired up so that we can start this morning right. We also do deck list review. So if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on it, or you got a spicy brew you'd like to submit to us all, both myself and the community would love to check it out and give some feedback. So brew up your coffee so we can brew up some magic. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for April 9th of 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone, this morning. We got Ulamogs, we got Frederick, the Iron Warlock, Erwin, Madcap Skills, Ryan, Terrence, Ugly Hoodrat, Steve. We've got Lord Magicus is here, MTG Box, David, Fraser, Maddie, and the Crown Guy. And we already got the questions already fired, so let's go do this. Actually, Ryan has a comment. I had a little free time after yesterday and built a cute little port from Legacy into Modern. If the leaks from the other day are to be trusted, I hope I get that deck review. All right, we'll see what happens. And we'll also wait to see if any of the leaks are true. I'm glad people responded well to that video. A lot of people, I had no idea if anyone, more people liked it more than I thought. I guess there's just not that much information about Modern Horizons out there. Wizards have been pretty tight-lipped about that stuff. Steve Manzo. Oh, by the way, if you're new to Coffee and MTG, 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments. Steve Manzo, aside from Clever Lumimancer, what cards from Strixhaven make it into the Boros Prowess build? Probably the Leonin, I don't remember. The Leonin something. Not the Arbiter. The Leonin Light Scribe. So that this has the best chance of also making the cut. Because it's like, it's on curve. It's pretty cheap. But like, it has a chance. I don't know if it's actually going to make the build. It's 2 mana, no evasion. Depends on other creatures being on the battlefield. You know, it's no Sprite Dragon. It's no Sprite Dragon. I'm sure a lot of people are still going to try to play like, or people are going to try Jeskai, or if not, people really do try to force Boros, probably this is the card that they look at. Probably. I don't know. I mean, they might look at Niv Magus Elemental or something. I want to make some joke about is it science here, but I'm way too tired even after 1 Starbucks mocha. All right. Just keep it in mind. Keep that joke stewing until you got the right formula. The Iron Warlock, what's the chance of Dragon's Guard Elite being used on a Gruul Prowess deck? I've never heard of Gruul Prowess, but Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on a counter. This is permanent. Double the number of +1/+1 counters on Dragon's Guard Elite. I think you need more cards in green. So it's okay. Here's the problem. Like, Sprite Dragon's just better than this card. Like, it's just better. So you're competing with blue. There needs to be a lot of really good green creatures for someone to not play blue, because this card's just better. It's got haste. It's got basically the same ability, and also as flying. It has built-in evasion. This one doesn't. So the odds at the moment are 0. There's 0% chance. But if green gets a lot more stuff, I don't know what that looks like, then there's a chance. Like, the card is fine, but there is just a strictly better card in the form of Sprite Dragon. And the reason we would only consider Leonin Light Scribe is because of, like, I talked about this card just a little bit earlier. The only reason we're talking about is because it's in the same colors as Clever Lumimancer, which is a very good reason to go in the direction of Boros. You know, why go Gruul over that card when you can splash blue? So that's the problem that card has. Pancho Hernandez, if Modern Horizons 2 would only print either Counterspell or Stifle, which would you choose? The hard part is, I know Counterspell is an upgrade, but I don't know how useful Stifle is because I haven't actually play tested the card. There's some hair in my face. Where's the? There we go. So, but Counterspell. Just going to go lock in those guaranteed gains. William Brooks, with looting not looking to be unbanned in the near future or ever, do you think there is something already made or that will be made to fill its place in things like Mardu Pyro? We have that card. What is with you people? I get faithless looting questions all the time. We have that card, people. We have the card. They printed the card. This is it. And it sees shitloads of play. Look at the price. It's $31 because it is effectively the replacement to faithless looting. Remember Rakdos midrange? All that is Mardu Pyromancer minus the white. Rakdos midrange was literally Mardu Pyromancer. We have the card. This is it. It costs you a lot more money than faithless looting, but you got the card. That's what it looks like. And it just goes to show how important that effect is. I mean, the card can just draw cards off the top of your deck, but it's got a lot of words on it. Sir Butterballs, do you think would work with Storm? No, I don't think any of those new prowess creatures work well with Storm. They're just two completely different archetypes, in my opinion. Frederick, so after watching Legacy Fish 5-0, what do you think about playing Phantasmal Image in Modern again? Terrible. It's such a bad card in Modern. There's just way too many ways of sniping it down. Lava Dart. It's like, okay, there are some advantages to Phantasmal Image. Copying a Primeval Titan helps a lot, because then you can go dig out your Mutavaults, and you attack, you get more Mutavaults. So there's some advantages there, but it's just so ridiculously vulnerable in Modern that I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not really putting a lot of stock. I saw the Legacy 5-0. I'm not really putting much stock into it because it's just like a stock list. And, you know, if someone like... If this person 5-0s again next week, and again next week, and again next week, maybe I'll start paying attention to what's going on with Fish and Legacy. But I don't think it has any relation to what's going on in Modern. Phantasmal Image is a powerful card, but cards like Lava Dart, Renin 6, Gut Shot... And to some extent, Walking Ballista still way too popular. Just snipes it down. Chris Ross. Good morning, Nikachu, or afternoon for me. Oh, it's morning for me. I finished my Jeskai Prowess deck list using the new Strixhaven cards. I hope you get to see it. I hope so as well. You keep jamming those deck lists at deck list review. Eventually, you get chosen. Andreas Pearson, do you think Nanchuko Shade is playable in Modern? Let me get Nanchuko. I sort of know what this card is. It's been a while since I looked at it because it's been from Torment back in the day. Okay, it's 2 mana, 2/1 creature, and Nanchuko Shade gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This card's unplayable. By itself, it's too vulnerable. We just went over why there's too many things that snipe things for 1 mana. It's very bad in Modern right now if you have to spend mana to make your creature better. It's just very bad. In Modern, the best creatures, for the most part, most of them, there are some exceptions like Walking Ballista because it's so flexible. But for the most part, the creatures just get a lot of value just from casting them. You cast it, you get the effect, that's it. You don't have to put any additional anything into it. So 2 mana, 2/1, that just gets buffed. This is not playable. Not good enough. Rodrigo Miguel Simon, loved your video about the leaks, but don't you think you were a little bit optimistic saying everything could play Modern? You mean everything could see Modern play? Oh, you mean like are you trying to say like are you trying to imply that some of those cards are too overpowered? I think everything is within like the realm of Modern. Modern, I don't think people realize how ridiculously overpowered Modern is right now. It's so OP. We got turn 3 Primeval Titans for fuck's sakes. We have turn 3 Primeval Titans. We have like turn 2 Death Shadows that can kill you on turn 3. Like, it's so aggressively powerful. Just insanely powerful, our format. So I don't think many of those cards change much. Some of them, the thing is, some of those cards, like say Hymn to Turok and Price of Progress, I think punishes the more stupid decks in the format. Not the fair decks, the stupid decks. You know, Price of Progress, not going to hurt the Death and Taxes player nearly as much. Not going to hurt the Merfolk players nearly as much, so. And it's going to make people think twice about their how to construct their mana base. What's the joke about thoughts on mono red? I know. Someone just always asks me every day my thoughts on mono red. Miwash, teamwork prowess? Maybe that's possible. That's 3 colors. That's possible. Ugly Hood Rat. Why would Merfolk use Counterspell? You barely have 2 mana available, and if you did, the opponent would see it coming. Terrible choice, in my opinion. Basically, 2 telegraph. Nope, that's not true. I mean, because Okay, so first off, it's never telegraphed because we could have Merfolk Trickster in our hand. We could have Brazen Borrower. We could have Harbinger of the Tides. We have a lot of flash creatures. We could have Force of Negation up. Now, in addition, we love Deprive. Like, Deprive is a card that I think we're basically the only deck in Modern that plays Deprive. It's part of our toolbox. And it's great. It's counter-target spell. But we have to bounce a land back to our hand in order to cast it. Now, that part sucks. That tempos us out. So, having access to counterspell, which is just strictly better Deprive, would be great for Merfolk. And the thing is, it deals with everything. It just deals with everything. In the past, Merfolk played all sorts of weird counterspells. We played Remand. We played Negate. We played Swan Song, and we played Dispel, and they all had like their niche situations, but Deprive was just superior to all of them. Really helped the Titan Shift matchup. It actually changed Titan Shift matchup from completely losing to completely winning. And now Dry to the Elysian Grove made it completely losing again. Marcelo, new Strix cards that might make an obscure archetype playable. I have no idea because I don't know the obscure archetypes. Crewmeister, have you played the board game Root? I have not. Honestly, I'm not really much of a board game person. Outside of Monopoly, which I don't play often at all, just once in a blue moon. I don't play many board games. Matthew, do you have a second favorite color? Maybe green. Maybe green. Quite bored. Favorite tier 1 deck of all time from Modern's history? Probably Splinter Twin. That was a pretty cool deck. Like I can't get behind. I can't deny how cool that deck was and how it operated. MTG Ectoplasm. It is a time to invest in Monster Mentor with Clever Lumimancer coming out. I would say no, but it's possible. Like this card has some synergy in that sort of deck. It also has a lot of synergy with the Leonin Light Scribe. Can't say for certain. I don't like to make suggestions about how people spend their money and speculate on cards. This is unclear. This requires playtesting if it's going to work or not. So it's not clear. Based on your opinion on Shade, are you not an advocate for Tarmogoyf? Tarmogoyf is a giant creature for 2 mana. It's not even the same discussion. You can't Lava Dart Tarmogoyf. Like Tarmogoyf, okay, I mentioned with Shade, you tap out on turn 2, dies to Renin 6, dies to Lava Dart, dies to Gutshot, dies to Walking Ballista. None of that's true about Tarmogoyf. And you don't have to invest any additional mana, generally speaking, to make the thing bigger. Just as you're using your spells in general, using your removal spells, playing creatures, and letting them die, Tarmogoyf gets bigger. So that's the difference. It's not, these aren't even relatable cards. This is why Tarmogoyf sees so much play. You invest 2 mana, and you get a 5/6 creature, which just outclasses most creatures in Modern. But you play your Nantuko Shade, you have a 2/1 creature, and basically it loses to everything. Unless you want to tap out for it. But then you tap out to make it bigger, and then they just kill it with like a Fatal Push, or even a Lightning Bolt in response, and then you can't protect it. Meta is really fast right now. Do you think Modern Horizons 2 has a higher chance of slowing it down or speeding it up? Way higher chance of speeding it up. With new powerful cards, we'll also bring the speed. Get ready for the speed, people. It's just the way of things. If they print a bunch of powerful cards, they're going to speed everything up, in my opinion. 27 Noetic. Do you foresee any green X Blitz deck with Fortifying Draught and or Veto with Nourishing Shoals Weather the Storm? Not really. I really don't see any Blitz decks using a Storm mechanic, for the most part. Like, it sounds too janky to me. Like, the prowess decks that are going to work, people, let's look at a prowess deck. Like, don't get so fancy, everyone. Like, I know I'm getting a lot of comments these days. What about Storm? We could storm off with Clever Lumimancer. Look, the most successful prowess deck, it's literally going to be a bunch of prowess creatures and a bunch of removal spells, and that's it. That's it. It's simple, straightforward, nothing janky, not going for a big win. It's going to like deal a good chunk of damage on one turn, and when the opponent taps out, then you just play all your spells and you don't need Storm or anything like that. That's just how it's going to operate. That is going to be the best Boros or any Blitz deck. There's nothing fancy about the archetype, in my opinion, because especially with the Storm mechanic, you look at like something like Grape Shot. It's sorcery speed. Now that's a problem, because that means you have to play all your spells first, then play the Grape Shot before you attack. You can't do this mid-combat. And if you do that, then you tell your opponent exactly what you're doing. You give them the opportunity to respond and kill your creatures. That's not good. Now let's say it didn't matter. Your opponent was tapped out, and you play a bunch of spells in Grape Shot. Well, you probably could just empty your hand and win anyway. Like, you didn't need Grape Shot if your opponent's tapped out, and you can do whatever you want. Like, that's just how these Blitz decks work right now. If you tap out against the Blitz deck, you can just die. You just die. They mutagenic growth you, they gut shot you, they lava dart you. You just die. So anyway, like, and so long as those streamlined Blitz decks exist, I doubt any of the fancy versions that people are thinking up is going to replace them. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, anything can happen, but I would say the odds of it happening are less than 5%. That's the way I see it. Pan-fried. Is Toshiro Umezawa modern playable? Oh, hold on. There's actually a whole... Do you see any green red Blitz with Fortifying Draw and or Veto? That's really fancy, because you want to have Veto and gain life to drain your opponent. Too fancy, sorry. Pan-fried. Is Toshiro Umezawa modern playable? I've been trying hard to get him to work. We had a great deck list on Coffee and MTG. A great one on this card. It's probably the best Toshiro Umezawa. Oh, this is the wrong Umezawa. Shit. This is the Toshiro Umezawa. Whenever Bushido 1, when this blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls put into a graveyard from play, you may play target instant card in your graveyard. If that card would be put into a graveyard this turn, remove it from the game instead. This is like a clunky Snapcaster Mage, where if you kill your opponent's creature, you get the option to play something from your graveyard, but you have to cast it still? Yeah, this is awkward. I don't know how this works. I was thinking of a different Umezawa. This one. Tetsuko Umezawa. Is there like a family of Umezawas or something? Creatures you control power, toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. So I'm sorry, maybe I got a little excited here. This one looks a little bit unplayable. It's very difficult to play. It needs to be alive. You need to kill something, and then have enough mana to cast something else that's not a removal spell, because you already killed the thing. Maybe it can be a sideboard card where you need a lot of removal against a deck. You kill something, there's a removal spell in the graveyard, you use that removal spell on another thing. Maybe this could be a sideboard card, but not a main deck card. I can't see myself building a deck around him. The Iron Warlock. What are your thoughts on printing Legacy Reanimator and or Reanimator-friendly spells in Modern, like Reanimate, Exhume, and Tomb? Not Reanimate, that's too aggressive. Even Entomb might be too aggressive. Like, those are the spells. Exhume might be fine, because we do have something similar to that. We've got Goryo's Vengeance, but I think that gets a little aggressive. Now that starts pushing Modern into like the turn 2 category. That's not good. So I would actually say no. Entomb, no. Reanimate, no. Exhume, maybe, but probably also no. At least with Goryo's Vengeance, there's a very strong restriction at the moment. There's not a lot of legendary creatures you can take advantage of. Oh, we got a super chat. Ian Adar. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thanks for the casual praise for my deck, bud. You're welcome. It's too bad they weren't asking about Tetsuko Umezawa's Fugitive. So if anyone doesn't know, the deck was based around walls that could attack. It was just all, they didn't have defender, but they're basically like high toughness creatures, and the deck played Ensnaring Bridge, but Tetsuko Umezawa says creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked, and these 0 power creatures could attack and deal damage equal to its toughness. That's important. So it can attack with the Ensnaring Bridge on the battlefield. It can attack and it can be unblockable because of Tetsuko Umezawa's Fugitive. So anyway. Tetsuko, you're going to see play one day. You're going to see play one day. Lamb asked, with Madness cards supposedly coming to Modern Horizons 2, do you think decks like Hollow One will be better? Maybe. That's a good speculation. You know, where there's madness. This is not the Hollow One. Oh, it's Hollowed One, I think. Oh, and I'm doing it hollow. Okay, that's a pretty good. That is a really good speculation topic. If Madness is coming back to Modern Horizons 2, then they've got to have some way to discard cards. And if they've got some way to discard cards, maybe Hollow One is coming back. Maybe Hollow One is coming back. That is a possibility. This is the only anyway, so that's, I mean, it's like it's a $2, no, it's like a $1 card right now. It's possible that they're going to get some goodies. You know, if they in any situation, like, you got to think, yeah, okay, they're bringing Madness back. That means you got to have some way of discarding cards. You've got some way of discarding cards. Maybe Hollow One gets better. Maybe Hollow One gets better. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Spencer Ward, is Naya Prowess the shell for Lumimancer and Light Scribe? The green does bring Blossoming Defense, Vines of the Vast would keep those tiny creatures around. It also brings Scale Up. Yes, I think Naya Prowess is definitely worth investigating. It might deal. So there is one problem with going Naya, is that you might deal a lot of damage to yourself with your mana base, and you will lose in the mirror to another Prowess deck taking less damage. Like, I'm sure the Boros Prowess deck will take less damage. They'll have a less painful mana base. So that's the only cost to going that direction. But there's definitely a reason. Like, I like the idea of Scale Up more than well, at least Scale Up in some degree. I don't know how much they're going to want Blossoming Defense. And like, Vines is clunky. That's a bit clunky. Blossoming Defense I can get behind. Vines is a bit clunky, though, because that's 2 mana. You need double green. That's going to be harsher on the mana base. So, but Naya, I think, is definitely on the table. Daniel, why is Deprive better than Familiar's Ruse? How is one better or worse than other with Aether Vial in play? So here's the deal. You're evaluating the card under best case scenarios. That's the problem here. You're assuming that if we have Aether Vial in play, why not just use Familiar's Ruse? Well, here's the problem. What if we don't have an Aether Vial in play? Cards like Familiar's Ruse don't see any play because you're grossly tempoing yourself out 95% of the time. There's an additional cost to casting. You have to return a creature to your hand. I mean, that's sort of helping the opponent get back into the game. You know, like, okay, they got their spell countered, but I took my body off the battlefield. So let's say I take my turn, I replay the body, and then my opponent plays a spell. I mean, they're not much worse off. Whereas when you play a counter, I have a body on the battlefield. I just counter the spell. I take my turn. I put another body on the battlefield. Now I got 2 bodies on the battlefield. My opponent has nothing. They are now actually quite a bit behind. So board presence matters a lot in Modern. This does the opposite. So it's basically unplayable. But I can see where you went wrong here, and this is a common mistake. People evaluate cards under best case scenarios, not worst case scenarios. You got to think, okay, what if I don't have the Aether Vial in play? You know, like we talked about Standstill the other day. Standstill, great if you have Ether Vial in play. Standstill, garbage if you don't have Ether Vial in play and if you're behind on the board. So you got to evaluate it at its worst, because the worst is going to happen much more often. There's going to be more games I don't have Ether Vial. Dallas, do you think Test of Talents from Strixhaven will see any play at all in Modern? Can't remember which one this was. Test of Talents. I think this was a good one, if I remember. I remember in my mind that was a good card. Counter target instant sorcery spell, search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that spell. Exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. Definitely a Modern staple. 100%. You're going to see this in sideboards. When the right deck comes up, like Scape Shift or something, you better believe that people are going to play this card. People might even bring this in against Titan, because you can't counter the Titan, but you could, if they Teleria West for Summoner's Pact and then you play Test of Talents, then they lose all their Teleria Wests to find for future Summoner's Pacts. So that might be a thing. I don't know all the applications, but definitely slam dunk Modern Toolbox card. Easy clap. Easy clap. Chris Ross with the super chat. Thank you very much, Chris. I need a professional opinion on Soulfire Grandmaster for prowess. I really want to make the card work. I know a lot of people want to make this card work. Fact of the matter is, it's a bit too vulnerable. It's just too vulnerable. It's just a 2/2 creature. It's too hard to defend. So, I mean, your burn spells have lifelink. That's about it. In the late game, it's pretty good. I've seen people try to play this in like a Jeskai control deck. Like it's a Jeskai control deck. And this was their win condition, but that was the closest I saw this ever working. I think in a slugfest, you would rather have another prowess creature instead of this. This card doesn't really stack. It's like, it's value, but in a prowess deck, you're not going to pull off the ability here. Next time you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand this turn, put that card into your hand instead of into your graveyard as it resolves. Like that ability is not going to happen. You're not going to get that. That's the most important part of the ability. That's not going to happen if you play a prowess deck. You're just going to win as quickly as possible. You're never going to have 6 mana and play your Lightning Helix, or even 5 mana, play Lightning Bolt, pay 4, put the Lightning Bolt back in your hand. But as a Jeskai control player, which I've seen this against, I've played against this before, they did have that ability. They, at 4 mana, they play Soulfire Grandmaster, and they hold up mana to counterspell whatever removal I have on this. And then all of a sudden, they're playing like Lightning Bolt. And then they pay the 4, and then they get their Lightning Bolt back. And that was value. So I think Jeskai Control is the best shell for this card. It's still debatable if this is the best way to build Jeskai Control, but I think it is the better. I think it's the better way to make this work over something like Prowess, because Prowess is not going to have much mana. Maybe it's a good sideboard card. Like when you're in the mirror and you have 3 mana, play Soulfire Grandmaster, bolt something, gain 3 life. That seems okay. But if you have white, you might as well play Core Firewalker or something, and that would probably just stomp the crap out of your opponent as well. So maybe it's not even the best sideboard card. Anyway, Jeskai Control is my best opinion on its home. That's where its home belongs. Hoodwink with the super chat. Thank you very much. Just wanted to say thank you for everything you do, Nikachu. I appreciate the time you put into this for us. You're welcome. And I love it. I love having this fun. This is fun for me. I love engaging with people. I wish I did this earlier, but it was hard for me to figure out how I was going to work it out streaming. And then when this client came up called StreamYards, where I can click on people's questions and we can see it and presents it to everybody, I thought that was great. This is the time. And the COVID happened and my computer died and I couldn't stream any gameplay. So this is like all I could do at the time. This is all I could do. You're welcome, Chris. All right, so there's a bunch of questions in between. Sorry if I missed some. What do you think of the Hardened Scales deck in Modern? I think it's underrated. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's why we're not seeing it. That's why we're not seeing it see so much play. But there's not so much Karn the Great Creator in the format. Maybe that's trouble against Prowess. Maybe that's the case, but I think it's underrated. I would have to ask a Hardened Scales master what the hell's going on with that deck. What do you prefer, a fast, aggressive modern or a slow and grindy modern? Oh, slow and grindy all the way. Fuck the stupid. Because, like, if it's fast and aggressive, then that means there's just, like, so many games where you're on the, you lose the die roll and you're like, okay, like, I can't beat 25% of the matchups now that I'm on the draw. And I keep, like, a hand that has, like, no one drop. And I'm like, this is not going to be good against most decks. This is terrible. Thoughts on Hollow One decks at the moment? Not good, because just not good. They don't have the right build. That's the problem. I have faith that there's a Hollow One deck out there, but no one's discovered it. Jake Holder, could Scourge of Netoth be printed in Modern Horizons 2? As long as it's not on the reserved list. Scourge of Nell. This is a commander card. At 7 mana, you may cast Scourge of Netoth from your graveyard by paying black and sacrificing 2 creatures rather than paying its mana cost. Yeah, that could show up in Modern Horizons too. I actually think, I mean, they printed some like powerful but janky stuff in Modern Horizons last time. They could definitely put this thing in there. I think that's well within the design of Modern Horizons. And especially since they actually, you know, another point here is that we just talked about, like, they're bringing Madness back. So they got to have some discard outlets. This seems like a good discard outlet for this seems like a good, this card has good synergy with that discard crap. Martin, what do you think of Dead Weight in Lurrus Rock? Funny enough, oh, this is such a cute picture. It's so much better than the old one. Playable. I swear it did see play at the time when Lurrus first came out, because I think a lot of the creatures were very small. It cleanly answers the prowess creatures, because you put one on a prowess creature, and then even if they try to make their creature bigger in response, it doesn't matter. The creature just dies. And because of the cleanup step, so they remove the +1/+1 counters, but this still gets -2/2, so it dies. Then Deadweight goes to the graveyard, and then with Lurrus, you can bring it back and snipe off more prowess creatures. If Lurrus can live another turn. I think it's a playable card. Is it going to be well positioned against everything? I don't know. Like, it's an underrated card. Like, you can hit Mana Dorks at a Heliod Company. You can hit, like, I guess, Hex Drinker and Jund Shadow, or at the very least shrink the Shadow a little bit. Hits most things in Blitz, or like hits the small prowess creatures. Useless versus Tron, sort of useless versus Amulet. Hits everything in Burn. It's not a bad card. It's not a bad card. Is it underrated? I don't know, but it's playable. Good luck with Deadweight if you want it. If Reanimate... Oh, we already answered this question. Adrian, good morning, sir. Any thoughts on Mono Red today? It's getting worse. Here, I have some actual thoughts. Mono Red is getting worse for some reason. It's not fast enough. You need the speed of Blitz. How is this considered? Why don't they just call this all prowess? That's what I've been doing. I guess it is faster than Mono Red. Where's Mono Red at? Well, here it's actually doing okay. Maybe it's doing better than I thought. I thought it was completely fell off the map. We're at 2.3%. That's not bad. It's competing with Hammer Time over here. Hammer Time's a real deck. Hammer Time's a real deck. And Adrian also asks, what do you think is the deck that rewards only using that deck forever the most? Jund, I guess. I mean, of all the variations of archetypes, Jund, I guess Jund and Blue-White X Control have stood the complete test of time. I guess Tron as well has been around. Okay, it's like, this has not always been around. This has not always been around. But Jund itself has been around. This has not always been around. Tron's always been around. Amulet's always been around. It's been a while, but I want to say Eldrazi Tron was not always around. Like, if I look 10 years, for the past 10 years, Tron has been a deck. For the past 10 years, maybe Amulet was a fringe deck on the earlier portion of that 10 years, but it was always around. But we always had like a blue-white control deck of some sort. We always had Burn, although it was a fringe deck in the earlier portions of that history. So I would say some sort of Jund variant rewards you the most. Ian Adar, my buddy is playing Blue Moon currently. His win con is Sharknado. Any key cards he should look at besides the typical Cryptic, Mana Leak, Snapcaster Mage? P.S. He does not run Force of Negation. All right. Well, everyone, if you play Blue Moon, what are all the Blue Moon win conditions? What does Aspiring Spike do? I know there's... I mean, you could use a Planeswalker like Jace the Mind Sculptor. That technically is a win condition as well. I don't mind Shark Typhoon at all as a win condition. I know Aspiring Spike has also played around with Madcap experiments into Platinum Empyrean as a win condition. That is a win condition, but that, like, I think that's a very different deck. But everyone is suggesting Spaghetti Mom and Breach. But there's also Ralzeric, yeah. He is it Viceroy. Oh no, it's Ral, is it Viceroy? This is also a win condition for Is It. Deals damage. And you get like the ultimate is pretty strong. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, the emblem deals 4 damage to any target and you draw 2 cards. I mean, that's a fucking ultimate right there. Like, that's a real ultimate. A lot of ultimates aren't very... That's serious business. Not enough ultimates mean business. That's a business one. Then there is the Madcap into Empyrean. I think this is mostly a sideboard strategy. What you do is you don't have artifacts in your deck, but you play Madcap Experiments, reveal top cards of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put on the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Madcap Experiment deals damage to you equal to the number of cards revealed this way. So what you get is Platinum Empyrean. And it says your life total can't change. So when it ETBs, you don't take damage from your Madcap Experiments. But most importantly, you don't take damage from your opponents either. And if they don't have a sufficient removal for this, like if they're on the Fatal Push plan, if they're on the Abrupt Decay plan, if they're on the Lightning Bolt plan, it doesn't do shit to this. Oh, Crackling Drake. I love that fucking card. Yeah, and Chandra Torch of Defiance, but Crackling Drake is a great... That's a great card. That's a very underrated card. That is a good win condition. I don't know if your friend is on a budget. Because maybe it sounds like they are. It sounds like your friend might be on a budget because they don't own Force of Negation. Yeah, you could also check out Harry MTG's deck list for some inspiration. But Crackling Drake actually seems like, you know, it's a cheap card and it's really good. 4 mana, draw a card. It's a flying creature. You probably have a bunch of instants in your graveyard at the moment. And even if they go to exile, it still buffs up the Crackling Drake. So you usually have like a really damn good big creature in front of you. Oh yeah, Carrie's been playtesting Goldspan Dragon. People ask me, can this see Modern play? I still don't know how much... Well, it has haste, which is useful. It does have haste. And the 2 mana can represent, like, you know, a counter spell. But it's expensive. Not cheap. People love their fucking Goldspan Dragons. So anyway, I hope some of this... hope some of those suggestions are useful. Let's grab a random question here. OG, thoughts on the lock enchantment for Modern Horizons 2 leaks replacing Ensnaring Bridge and Lantern Control? Not good, because if we look at, what's it called? Oh, what is that lock enchantment? Shit, what is that? What is the enchantment called that locks people out? I don't think Lantern Control can use this because they need to draw... Because you skip your draw step and you have to discard cards from your hand. You don't have that much time. It's definitely worse than Ensnaring Bridge. What is the enchantment? You don't... it has Shroud and like you don't take damage and you have to discard a card at your upkeep. Solitary Confinement. So, I mean, this is the ultimate problem you have is that you skip your draw steps, you don't draw any more cards. You can't do that with Lantern Control. Yeah, you become the target of spells or abilities, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. But at the beginning of your upkeep, you have to sacrifice it unless you discard a card from your hand. Lantern Control just can't do that. It's not sustainable. Like, Lantern Control go... I mean, you do know how you win with Lantern Control, right? You mill the opponent out. You need like a million turns to do that. You're not going to do that with Solitary Confinement. All right, people, you know what time it is. It's time for deck list review time. That's right. That's where 30% of you disappear, but the other 70% you're like, I want to see what spicy brew is going to show up next today. They want to see what's up. All right, so if you're new to the channel, you want to know how you can participate in deck list review, go into my description. In the description, I have a link to my Discord. Don't even have my Discord open. Where's my Discord? Oh yeah, my internet died. If anyone watched my stream yesterday, my internet just it died at, I guess, a good moment because I finished my league. But I think power went out in my area. My power in home did not go out, but the traffic lights were out, and I think that had some effect on the internet because the internet was just dead. Anyway, enough rambling and sidetracking. Go into my Discord. There is a link called Decklist. There's a channel called Decklist Review. In Decklist Review, use the command !review deck, give a space, enter the URL to your deck list, then press enter in that order, and you'll be eligible at random, people, at random for deck list review. And yeah, Andrew's hoping for something good. Don't forget, there are streamers that watch this channel. They're looking for the next spicy tech. Some lists have been piloted by streamers to 5-0, so you never know. You never know who's watching Coffee and MTG here. We got like almost 300 people here between Facebook and my 2 YouTube channels. We got 1 person on Facebook. Yes. It's okay. The Facebook page is there for the replay. People love it on the replay. Many places to find the replay. Okay, as we wait for people to submit their deck list, we're going to thank sponsors. I do have sponsors here. They want me... sponsors love it when you talk about them. Let's talk about FusionGamingOnline.com. Strixhaven, sealed product, or the singles. You know where to pre-order them. You can get them from FusionGamingOnline.com. That's right. And don't forget, use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Lets them know I sent you. Also, saves you money. Saves you 5% off all your purchases. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. This is definitely the way. This is the way that you get to play test all your decks. And with Strixhaven coming out, I mean, you don't know what deck you're going to land on. Or maybe you like to play every deck. I want to play all the decks, you say. I don't want to buy into one deck. I want to play them all. But I can't afford the whole collection of Magic the Gathering cards that exist. It's okay. You can rent them with Mana Traders. Play with whatever the hell you want. Any deck, any format, any time. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save 15% off your first 2 months using my coupon code Nikachu. And let's get off to the races. Although it's not really a race. Deck list review has commenced. Moosey! Congratulations, Moosey. You are the next contestant on deck list review. You are the lucky winner. We have Heartless Petition. It's a blue deck. I am in level already. It's modern. Do I make money from Facebook views? Absolutely nothing. I make no money from Facebook. Facebook doesn't give me shit. I think I've sort of applied for monetization, but I didn't get that far because they have different metrics than like YouTube. I mean, well, YouTube is a similar thing. They're like, hey, we ain't giving you money until you have enough views. Then when you have enough views, then we can start giving you money. And I didn't really follow up after that. All right, Mere Retriever. Whenever Mere Retriever dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Tribute Mage. ETB. Search your library for an artifact card. Converted mana cost 2. Reveal, it's exactly 2. Usually it says 2 or less. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. One day this might find Umezawa's Jite. We have 2 Pact of Negation, 4 Fatal Push, 4 Inquisition, 2 Opt, 2 Thought Scour, 2 Muddle the Mixture. This is some sort of combo deck. Dark Petition, an Altar of the Brood. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts... So is this some sort of... You have a loop here somewhere? Creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Creatures you control get -1/-1. Okay, how do you recycle this then? Okay, so you play this. You can play this for free. It dies instantly. Return another... Aha! You see this, people? So we play the Heartless... Is there a description? How dare you not give me a description? I have to figure this out for myself. Okay, so as I understand, you play the Heartless Summoning. You can play Mirror Retriever. Dies instantly. Return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. You can return the Mirror Retriever. So you return Mirror Retriever. You have infinite casting the Mirror Retriever. Just make sure that it resolves. And with Altar of the Brood, whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of their library into the graveyard, so you mill your opponent out. This is actually not too bad. It's not too shabby. What I would really like is that we can make better use out of Heartless Summoning other than this. Creature spells you cost to cast 2 less, so that, like, you can play Tribute Mage for 1. Search your library for an artifact card. We gotta go up on Tribute Mage. You gotta have 4. So here's the real deal, is how to get the Heartless Summoning. So you have Muddle the Mixture for that. I know from experience, Transmute is really clunky. Like, it's really clunky. Paying 3 up for Transmute is terrible. Yeah, Altar of the Brood mills forever. Well, it's not a turn 2. Oh, is it turn 2? It is a turn 2. Oh, it is, actually. You go turn 1, Altar of the Brood. Turn 2, Heartless Summoning. And then mill your opponent to death. All right, so there's actually legit power to here. I mean, you go turn 1, Altar of the Brood, and I play Ether Vial turn 2. I lose. I can just snap lose on turn 2. We are really high on lands, though. This is a fucking heavy on land. We can definitely go down on lands. This is insane. Idolic Tutor? I don't know what tutor you mean. No, this card does not exist. Scheming Symmetry is lull in this deck. How about Scheming? Oh, that might be a very good card. That's a very good card. Choose 2. Okay, choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card, then shuffles the library and puts that on a card on top of it. So how do we use this though? Because we still give the opponent a choice to go get something. Now I am on board with the. I think I'm on board with the Pact of Negation. I also like. We probably shouldn't use Inquisition of Kozilek. We should use Thoughtseize. Is this a budget deck? No, it's not really that budget. It's pretty... You're spending money on it. All the money is in, like, the support cards. This would make a fucking amazing budget deck for people. This is, like, really close to an amazing budget deck. Like, what's the cost online? Like, it's nothing. It's just nothing. The cost is all in Force of Negation, which is debatable. It's possible Pact of Negation is just a better card for this deck. Idyllic Tutor. We might be like, this might be like oh, this is too expensive. No, this is garbage. We're not going. I don't think it's worth it. Well, unless do we need the blue? Like, I'm not sold on the blue in this deck. It could be. Oh no, we want Tribute Mage. Okay, I'm sold immediately. We need Tribute Mage. I'm not in love with Idyllic Tutor. What's the song? Look up Stream Beats by Harris Heller. I don't know what the specific... Okay, what is the specific song? If it tells me, I'll say it. I don't know. Oh, it's called Basement 10 from Harris Heller. Tassiger, too slow. At 3 CMC tutor, yeah, you can just transmute with, and like I said, I think this is a bit too clunky as it is, in my opinion. It might be fine in this deck, because I don't mind I mean, I like the idea that you're being a little interactive. You play Fatal Push, you play Inquisition to Kozilek, and then bam, you fucking combo off against them. What is Alter? Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of the library into their graveyards. Okay, this is great. Dark Petition. Search your library for a card, then put that. This is a bit clunky. This is a bit clunky. If there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, add triple black instead. Or is it clunky, but it works? If there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, so like at 5 mana, okay, it's a little less clunky because when you cast it, you do get the mana to play your Heartless Summoning and maybe go off. But it's still 5 mana is a lot for Modern. Bonchu's Last Reckoning seems like crap too. I'm not a fan. I think this is more of a sideboard card. They got some ceremonious for deck. Like, I'd rather have Damnation before I play with. Well, maybe I want this. Will Whir of Invention work here? I think our critical problem. Actually, there are actually 2 problems. We don't know how to find this Heartless Summoning reliably. We also don't know how to find this Altar of the Brood reliably. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into the graveyard. Tribute Mage can't find it. Tribute Mage can find Mirror Retriever, but cannot find any of the other pieces. Wishclaw. Also pretty clunky. Why not cut Trinket Mage, Mono Black, Luris, Lantern? That's just a completely different deck, that's why. Is Trinket Mage better? Well, now we can't find the Mirror Retriever. So this, I mean, maybe some number of Trinket Mages can make it into the deck. There's another way of looking at it, is that you build a deck around Heartless Summoning that just randomly combos out with Mirror Retriever and Alter the Brood. That's also an option. Okay, people keep mentioning Grim Tutor. What's going on with Grim Tutor? Get your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library, lose 3 life. You might as well just play the Muddle the Mixture to find Heartless Summoning or Mirror Retriever. Well, I guess what we could do is we could go to 4 Muddle the Mixture, and we use this to find Mirror Retriever or Heartless Summoning, but at the same time, we can then play, we replace Tribute Mage with Trinket Mage, but the only purpose of that is to find this card. It's true that Serum Visions digs more than Opt. Yeah, maybe this spell thing has got to change. I'm just wondering if we can find any... Maybe we just have to play Scheming Symmetry and just hope for the best. Like, whatever we just give our opponent whatever they want. Fabricate? What are people suggesting? Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. It doesn't get Heartless Summoning. That seems to be the puzzle here. How do we find all the combo pieces reliably? Because it seems like there's no... Maybe Muddle the Mixture is just the best way to do it. We just max out on Tribute Mage, we max out on... Muddle... No, but even when we do that, we don't find Altar the Brood. These 3 cards are hard to find all at the same time. So Whir of Invention can find the artifacts, but then can't find the Heartless Summoning. Imperial Seal is not modern playable. I think we might need to play Scheming Symmetry. This will really work if the opponent has no fucking clue what we're doing. But one problem with this is, like, if the opponent's playing with Thought Scour, they'll just put Thought Scour on top of their deck and then, you know, get you. I mean, alternately, you could play Scheming Symmetry and then hold up your Opt and then just opt it into your hand immediately. Thought Scour mills for symmetry and powers up frown. Powers up. Oh, so this is interesting. Okay, so what Jacob is suggesting is that the cantrip that we should use is actually Thought Scour. This is a good idea. We should be playing with Thought Scour so that when we play Scheming Symmetry, we get exactly what we want. And then after we play Scheming Symmetry, we Thought Scour our opponent so that they don't get what they want. This is actually a very, very good idea. I'm just wondering how... Okay, so we have Thought Scour in here. Okay, instead of 2 more ops, play 2 more Thought Scours. Instead of Dark Petition, play 4 Scheming Symmetry. We have to take another card out. Maybe we take out the Pact of Negations for now. We take out Pact of Negations, add another Tribute Mage, and the Scheming Symmetry. Maybe we take out some... I prefer Thoughtseize over Inquisition. I could be wrong. Maybe Inquisition is good enough. How does this work versus White Leyline game 2? I don't know. Hold on, what does this say? Alter the... Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills... it doesn't matter, actually. This gets around White Leyline. It just says each opponent puts the top card of their library into the graveyard. So it actually doesn't work. Use Fae of Wishes. Put 1 Altar and Heartless in the sideboard. That, I think, that might be a bit slow. Maybe there's a build with that. Maybe there's a build, but I think it's a bit slow. This is a very original deck, and I bet there's something to the mana base that we could change. I just don't know what it is. This is a very original. And another thing, I think 24 lands is too much, especially if we take out Dark Petition and we put in the Scheming Symmetry. So we might actually have room to go down to like 22 lands or something, and then add 2 more cards. I don't know about Muddle the Mixture again. I don't mind having a lot of interaction. Like the Fatal Pushes make a lot of sense, and you can bring in more of that stuff from the back into the sideboard. Graveyard Hate, though, seems hard to deal with. We don't use the graveyard. We're just milling. Oh, there is Graveyard Hate. You're right. So if we get snapped, if our Mirror Retriever gets snapped off, the whole deck dies. So we like lose to basically like Surgical Extraction. What can we do? Well, I guess our defense to that is find another Mirror Retriever. Could it be a Karn the Great Creator deck? Maybe with enough removal. Maybe. Yeah, that's the answer. Always put Karn in. Yeah, you need to get to 5. It's a bit too hard. I think Scheming Symmetry is better. Especially if we're going to play 4 Thought Scour after that. Not sure on Muddle the Mixture. Maybe we have Muddle the Mixture, or maybe... Like, I don't mind defending the our combo. Like, I don't mind that. Would Scrap Trawler work? Maybe. It used to be a huge combo with Mirror Retriever. When Scrap Trawler or another artifact you control is put into graveyard from the battlefield, return to your hand target artifact card in your graveyard with lesser mana value. Maybe it won't, because you need a sack outlet to really make this thing work. And we don't have... And like back then, that was the that was Kark Clan Ironworks. I've always wanted to see this deck happen. How does this deck beat Nexus of Fate? Maybe this... Oh, that's a good question. Maybe the sideboard should have some Surgical Extractions. No, hold on. Actually, Nexus of Fate never hits the graveyard, right? That's a good question. Does any mill players know how to beat a Nexus of Fate? Take an extra turn. If Nexus of Fate would be put into graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it back to... So you never have an option. You never get the opportunity to exile this stupid thing. So how do mill players beat Nexus of Fate? I mean, maybe you don't. It's not a super popular card. I'm just curious. Oh, just force. Okay, so let them draw. So basically, you mill their deck. They put Nexus of Fate on top eventually, right? Because it doesn't shuffle everything else. You just mill their deck. They have Nexus of Fate. They draw it, and then they lose. Well, Black Leyline probably... Well, in the sideboard, we can definitely put some bounce spell. Like, I hear you, people. I hear you. This deck, like, loses to Rest in Peace. Because this is very dependent on the graveyard. This is turn 2 kill, but also very dependent on the graveyard. Unless this deck could have a massive transformational sideboard post-board where they bring in all the graveyard hate, but then you turn into like a blue-black control deck or something. Oh, that would be gas. They like bring in graveyard hate, and then you become an inverter Thassa deck afterwards. Anyway, I think that's all the feedback I'm going to give on this list. It's actually a very unique list. Very unique. I hope some of that will make the deck a little bit more consistent, because I see the issue. All three of these are hard to find all at the same time and consistently. Because Tribute Mage can find Retriever, but that's it. Doesn't find Heartless Summoning. And then some things that can find Alter the Brood can't find the Mirror Retriever or the Heartless Summoning. Anything that can find Heartless Summoning, like Muddle the Mixture, can't find anything else. Well, actually, that's not true. Muddle the Mixture can also find Mirror Retriever. But I think Scheming Symmetry might be the best bet for finding everything. Oh, Black did get enchantment removal in the form of Feed the Swarm. That's true. Actually, that's a really good one. We should probably have like 4 Feed the Swarm in the sideboard. So that deals with all the ley lines, Rest in Peace. Yeah, all the nasty cards. If you want a redundant Mirror Retriever, there is Workshop Assistant. Whenever it dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. But it doesn't die. It needs 1 toughness. That's why Workshop Assistant doesn't work. It's a 2 toughness creature. So it actually lives. The idea is you play your Mirror Retriever and it just dies instantly. So we have no sack outlet. Anyway, that was a nice deck. That was a nice deck. I hope some of that feedback helps. And if I'm sure someone could like alter it and turn this into a real thing. Good luck with that list. That was a nice one. Like, it's not often someone has like a pretty logical turn 2 kill that you can like dig for. All right, Occam's Chainsaw, also known as Occam's Butter Knife. Congratulations, you are the next contestant on Decklist Review. Let's go. Uh-oh, you just got wormed. I have a feeling this deck has worms in it. It is a modern deck. It has a Boreal Grazer. It has also Veto, Thorn of Dusk Rose. It is a Abzan deck. Autochthon Worm. So it costs 15 mana. So we're at Emrakul range here. Convoke. All right, well, that's great. That helps cast this thing. It's just a 9/4 Trampler. We got Summoner's Pact, Life Goes On, Path to Exile, Unearth. For what? What are you going to unearth? You can't unearth this thing. Village Rites. What the hell is going on here? Village Rites, Assassin's Trophy, Aladamri's Call, Nourishing Shoal, Weather the Storm. You have a pile of lands. You have 21 lands. You have 21 lands and not any good way to like ramp. You have actually not that many lands in the deck. Noxious Revival, Surgical Extraction, Veil of Summer, Assassin's Trophy, Diacide, Dismember, and Night of Autumn. What the hell is going on here? Oh god. Okay, we have a primer. Well, I'm not reading all this. This deck focuses on gaining life. Oh, so you really just want to gain life with it when Thorn of Dusk Rose is in play. Okay, so it's actually a combo deck. The primer helped. You can gain a ton of life for 0 mana, causing the opponent to like blow their mind. So this is a way so we can Nourishing Shoal away the worm. How do we get the veto in play, though, reliably? Oh, we can, like, Aladdin's Call. Excellent creature tool grabs veto. Life goes on. Nourishing Shoal. Okay, I get it. I get it! Okay, we have 4 Aladdin's Call. That's very important. We have 4 Nourishing Shoal. That's very important. We have 4 Weather the Storm. This, I don't know if that works very well, but hopefully it does. Yeah, you want to Shoal the Worm. This deck is 100% dependent on veto. If you don't have a veto, you don't win. So whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. I mean, it's worse than that. Like, because Nourishing Shoal is sorcery, isn't it? Or is it instant? No, it's instant, actually. Okay. Okay, so first off, you might want 4 Summoners Pact. Creature. I don't know if this card's great. I don't even know what your Village Rightsing away, like the Arboreal Grazer. How does Nourishing Shoal? You gain X life. You may exile a green card with converted mana cost X from your hand rather than pay its mana cost. Yeah, it's counting the CMC. Yeah, you need... Yeah, like the whole deck is on the back of Veto, Thorn of Dusk Rose. I don't... Well, maybe you can set up Veto with something like... what's the artifact? You can't play... If you want to... You can only play spells on... If you want to play spells on your opponent's turn, it costs 3 more mana. What is that card? Like, this deck is totally all in on this fucking card on their turn. It might even... Like, okay, how do we get Veto? Like, this whole deck depends on it. It seems like you can get it from with Aladdin's Call, Defense Grid. You might want just main deck Defense Grid. I don't know what other cards that will help defend you. But you literally can't win. Like, you don't play on your opponent's turn hardly at all. Traverse is actually not too bad. Traverse is actually a good card here. If we can get Delirium, I don't know how easy that is with this deck. Traverse is like a really good fit for this deck. Aladdin's Call is great. Honestly, I would fucking dump all the interaction. If you want to go combo, you gotta go combo. You have to go combo. Yeah, let's cut the Village Rights as no point at all. That's not a bad idea. Like, that's a good... You dump your Arboreal Grazer and your Birds of Paradise or something. Is there another like good 1 mana wall like Arboreal Grazer that you can Eldritch Evolution into a Veto? So anyway, dump the Village Rights, dump the Unearth, dump the Path to Exile. I don't even think life go... Well, maybe life goes on. Is there not better like life gain spells? Life goes on maybe is possible. Like, you're a combo. You got to go all in on this combo deck. You could play... I mean, I can see something like Pact of Negation or what's it called? If you want to defend your combo, I still think you should play Defense Grid, but you do have the option to play something like Veil of Summer. Oh, Goose is a good one, and it gains life. Okay, so we could play Goose. You know, whatever just doesn't die to fucking Lava Dart, you know what I mean? Do we play Eldritch Evolution? Okay, how do we consistently have Nourishing Shoal in our hand? Because we still need to gain life, like, sort of reliably. Like, I could see some sort of turns where you go like Summoner's Pact, play something, play Weather the Storm, gain a bunch of life. How to do this? Because you're not going to get this in your hand all the time. Like, you don't have this combo all the time. So how do you win even when you don't have it? Let's see, there's more of a problem. You can gain a ton of life for 0 mana, causing your opponents to lose that much. Weather the Storm functions as a grape shot to deal so much damage. Yeah, but you don't have a good Storm deck. Well, you can play Manamorphose in this deck. You can do that. You can unearth him, cast Summoner's Pact, cast another 1-drop like Grazer, or Life Goes On, Weather the Storm to delete your opponent. That's too fancy. Maybe you can keep playing Unearth. Maybe that's possible. Just so that, because the whole deck depends on this card, and when they die it, you unearth it back. Like, maybe that's possible. Maybe we can stick to Unearth. Path to Exile and Village Rites still seem very sus to me. Also, Assassin's Trophy seems sus. You can have Assassin's Trophy in the sideboard to bring in when they're trying to interact with your combo. I hate seeing veto decks without Exquisite Blood. Yeah, but isn't it like a 5-mana card or something? Yeah, it's 5 mana. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. But it's an alternate way of winning, I guess. Whenever you... And then, yeah. Okay, you know what? I can actually get behind that, Chris. If we have enough mana sources in this deck, and we pump up the curve so that we could just get Exquisite Blood on the battlefield, I think that works out. I think that can work out. Like, we have some room to play, like, I don't know, 2 less Assassin's Trophies, 2 less Path to Exiles. Play this as a second win condition, in addition to everything else we're doing. Because once they lose 1 life, it just chains to their death, right? And we do want a ramp, so we can play Grazer and maybe what's it called? The Goose. Exquisite for it's $49. Holy shit. 39 here. That's crazy. It shows that this combo is good. That's why this combo is so good. Okay, so I can get behind Unearth just because it sort of protects the combo of Veto, and it does create like a bit of a chain with Weather the Storm, which might be necessary. Village Rites, I'm not really behind. Eladamri's Call, we need it. We need it to find Veto. We need it to find, what's it called? The big worm when we got like a Nourishing Shoal in our hand. How do we squeeze in more packs? And I feel like we need more mana. Or because Boreal Grazer isn't actual mana. It like puts lands onto the battlefield, but doesn't put it doesn't actually add any additional mana. What do you do against control? Yeah, sideboard defense grid in. We could put 4 defense grids in the sideboard. Not sure what the Knight of Autumn is for. What's some of these cards? What are the... Doesn't... Assassin's Trophy, no explanation needed. Yeah, but you're a combo deck. You're a combo deck. I think there is some explanation needed. I want to know. What's the point of this card? Weather the Storm, it's like Great Bolts. I get that. Village Rite, it's the only way to draw more cards in this deck. But when you're a combo deck, at least this kind of combo deck, just make sure all the cards are redundant. So if we add Exquisite Blood as a secondary way of winning the game, and then all you have to do is like gain like a little bit of life. You know, Exquisite Blood plus Veto plus a single life gain kills your opponent. Because they lose life, then you gain life, they lose life, and then they die. So I actually can get really behind this. Now, I just don't know how to make the mana base. Like, we might have to add more mana. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you just add 4... Maybe you just add 4, what's it called? Gilded Goose. Maybe we also take out 1 worm. Because we can either... Like, I think between some Summoner's Pacts... I don't even know if we need Summoner's Pacts. Because we're not all in on this anymore. Because all it is Summoner's Pact is to find a worm. You can't find anything else with this. Morphs over rights? No, I don't need any morphs. Edge of Autumn. control 4 or fewer lands. Switch your library for a basic land card, put onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Not very interesting. Well, instead of village rights, we're just dumping it for this exquisite blood card. Well, we don't need Autumn's Veil. We're playing with Veil of Summer in the sideboard. And then we should have Defense Grid somewhere in the sideboard. I don't know exactly what to take out. What is some more of this description? Because if you get, you don't need a big Nourishing Shoal victory. I mean, you can have it, but you don't need it if you get the Exquisite Blood out. I think that's it. That's all the feedback I can give. That's the direction it should go. I think you should be less on interaction and less on this dirtly card draw. Just have more impactful ways of comboing off. Life Goes On is fine. Like, again, to start that chain of triggers. Get more mana dorks in there. And hopefully that is good. Like, we do Q&A every day. Don't worry, there's always a new day. Okay, so that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG for today. As usual, if you want to know where the replays go, the replays can be found at my alternate YouTube channel, Nikachu MTG Streams. If I didn't get your comments, questions, or deck list today, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. So the next time will be Monday. If you love Coffee and MTG, don't forget you can support the channel with a Twitch sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You can support on Patreon at patreon.com/NikachuMTG, or you can join on YouTube. And so I'd love to thank everyone for joining me today. It was a great day. We had some great deck lists, great discussion, because without all of you showing up every day, making me a part of your daily routine, there would be no discussion. We wouldn't be starting the day right without all of you. So keep brewing up those coffees and keep brewing up the magic. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.